All right, so we have a student, fourth grade, and the goal is will ask and answer questions to demonstrate understanding of instructional level text, referring explicitly to the text as the basis for the answers.
I spelled
Up.
explicitly.
To the text as the basis for the answers.
So the goal is ask and answer questions.
So maybe the goal is answer questions because of the second part of referring explicitly to the text as the basis for the answers. And I think that's okay because ask and answer questions is a broad goal. I would have to, can we find that actually in the book?
Okay, so
To see if that's the language of
I'm
the
gonna put
standard or.
indicators.
Okay, so I guess that would be under
Indicators.
key ideas and details. So, okay, maybe it's standard one. Let me see if this applies. Read closely to determine what the text says explicitly. Let's see. Refer to details and examples in a text when explaining what the text says explicitly.
Wait,
so
so
It's
ask,
that one.
so ask and answer questions is grade 3. This
Grade-
is grade 4.
There should,
3.
so that's grade.
So this is grade 3. Ask and answer questions. Grade 4 is refer to details and examples in the text when explaining what the text says explicitly.
Okay, so
So-
if you were including that, then it wouldn't be ask and answer, but could you still use the language of answer questions?
It says refer to details and examples when explaining what the text says explicitly.
So then we'd have to change the whole beginning language to the student will explain understanding of an instructional level text referring explicitly to the text as the basis for the explanation versus the answer. So explaining an idea, explain a concept you learned, explain the important points, explain, the author's discussions about literary text. Select relevant textual evidence when responding either orally or writing to text-specific questions. Draw inferences and conclusion from the text. So the goals kind of
So these
span
are the-
across literary and
Yeah.
informational.
Information
Yeah.
text. So
Yeah.
these are the objectives to be able to meet
Mm-hmm.
that
So
goal.
I'm wondering if I would want to know more about the student need, and if the student need is about using the text explicitly when responding.
And the standard is really trying to tie in that explicit information to the inferences that they make. They want them to make inferences using explicit information from the text. Is that anywhere in the goal?
It says explain main ideas explicitly or that are inferred. So I think maybe there just needs to be some sifting out of the literary text focus, and either that's a separate goal or maybe that's not the major issue at all, because most of the other objectives tend to focus back to the informational standard.
Informational standard.
What part? So I would say if it's
So I think what we're missing with the goal is the need to identify what skill the student doesn't have. So if we go back to the reading, the strategies for reading, and we're either, so it doesn't, I guess it doesn't matter if we're living in literature or if we're living in informational text. What skill is the student lacking to be able to explicitly refer to the text for answers, like for this, or to explain their ideas.
Okay.
So in if we're looking at the strategies for reading
You're
instruction,
the one where it's like,
yeah,
oh.
it's all up here.
where it's like,
Yeah,
oh.
it's all up here.
Okay.
So what strategy, or like,
Is
what are
that
they missing?
the ability to synthesize information?
Maybe that's
Partly
what the goal.
it, but there's also an
Inferring.
inferring.
I mean, I don't understand why both of them can't be. I
But
mean,
they're-
I think what they want for the student is to be able to explain ideas or a main idea from the text using text-based evidence. So I think everything beneath it are just pieces to their instruction they wanted to include to get them to be able to explain the idea.
Student will be able to explain main ideas from the text using text-based evidence.
I mean, I do like
Fourth grade student, and I think identifying the main idea and using key details to support it, that's really a third grade goal. The fourth grade goal is to get at the inferencing, drawing inferences.
Right. So at the bottom, the teacher did put, "will draw inferences and conclusion from the text." So I think in us trying to focus the indicator, I don't know that we can, focus the objectives, I don't know that we can take those away, because by taking them away at this grade level would be changing,
Taking away what?
taking away like inference, by focusing in on only the pieces that kind of came up with through our discussions on explaining ideas,
Right.
textual evidence, and not allowing the oral rehearsal and the drawing inferences to be there. It does change it from being specific to fourth grade to being more specific to third.
Right, so I would argue that we need to keep the inferences
Right.
in there.
I agree. I think the only like upgrade I would make to this is changing it from ask and answer questions